Greg, you'd be surprised to know that the MLB contenders were flying off the shelves like hotcakes today.
I would be. The only thing I'd be surprised by is if that was not the case.
The two MLB contenders videos don't even add up to the FanDuel NFL video. And the FanDuel is less than half of the DK video. Cool.
What is happening, everybody? It is Thursday night, and as everybody knows, this is one of the absolute biggest baseball slates of the year. That's what everybody's talking about. It's what everybody's excited about, and that's what Josh Engleman and I are about to break down. Tonight's MLB slate, and don't worry, football slate is also going to be covered for you guys. So a little bit after our show, and going to be out here a little bit early because we do have the early baseball lock. We do have NFL Live Before Lock today. First football slate of the year. Lofty, Neil Orfield breaking it down. So go check those guys out. And as you guys come in, like this video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Shout out to Owner's Box, who are sponsoring our show. And don't forget about our podcast channel, because if you guys go and listen to all the content we have on the podcast channel, and you're over there, you leave us a 5-star review, leave us a nice message, we're giving away one free full year of our NFL package. And we're also giving away 2 monthly packages to our NFL Max plan. And all you have to do to enter is leave us a 5-star review, leave us a nice review, write something nice, write something funny. We're going to pick our 3 favorite reviews, and you guys are going to win prizes. First place is going to be that full year of a free NFL package of ours, which comes with our Sims data, comes with our contest generator, and then also 2 free months for the people who come in second and third. So go check that out. We also have podcast exclusive content. I'm going to be doing a show tomorrow with Lofty. We're going to break down the afternoon slate on Sunday, which a lot of people don't do content for. So going to have that on the podcast channel. It's the only place you can get it. So go check out the Stochastic Daily Fantasy Podcast channel. Josh, what's happening?
Not much, man. Finally made it to 6 o'clock to talk a little bit of baseball. It's a weird slate for today. I'm very happy that we get to stop doing this show earlier than normal. That's fun. I don't really care too much about tonight's NFL game. I don't think I'm really ready for NFL Showdown just yet. So I'm going to put it on the back burner and focus on baseball. So more than anything, I'm just ready to not really care about anything tonight.
Yeah. Ship this guy over to Europe where he can just watch his European football.
Oh, sons of bitches are on international break right now. Liverpool doesn't play again for like a week and a half.
There's no football at all for Josh. There's no American football, no European football. So, he's just got Adam Wainwright to watch pitch today against his Atlanta Braves and see how that ends up going. We're talking a bit about the Braves as we go here. They are by far the most popular team on the slate. Small 6-gamer here for the MLB slate. And let's get into it, Josh. Starting with the pitchers, though, where we've got one pitcher totally on island of his own in terms of pricing. That is Luis Castillo. The matchup isn't quite ideal. It was in a good pitcher's park on the road in Tampa Bay. $11,000 over on DraftKings. There's not even another single pitcher who's priced above $10K. With that in mind, Josh, Luis Castillo as the only real expensive pitching option, project for 19.1% ownership. How are you going to handle him in large field tournaments?
I got a bunch. It's been a roller coaster for my exposures today, from just like lines changing to pitchers changing. So I have 50% Luis Castillo right now. He's my most exposed player and most exposed pitcher. Well, most exposed player, I guess. I certainly don't have a 50% owned hitter. I'm basically flip-flopping Luis Castillo and Max Fried in exposure. So Fried is the guy that's getting the ownership. He's at 43%. Luis Castillo is at 19%. And I'm pretty well okay with that. I have them projected within 0.5 of a point of each other. I think it's pretty clear that Max Fried is a better point per dollar play. You're just saving $1,400 if I have them projected very close, and $1,400 certainly matters. But I don't know how much the money matters today. Like I'm getting to, I don't have a ton of the Braves, but I have a little bit. But I have enough Castillo and not a lot of that 4K dude who we'll get to, who has 2 different names. But he's pulling some ownership. If I don't feel like I need to get him, then I don't think that $1,400 between Fried and Castillo is all that important. So it's leading me to flip their ownership in large field contests. 27% K rate for Luis Castillo against lefties, 26 to righties. His problem is lefty power, but lefty power plays down in Tampa. 89 park factor for lefty power. It's 99 for righties. The park plays down runs as well. And if we look at the lefties that are in the lineup, he's going to have some trouble for sure. There's a lot of power in the 4 lefties that exist. Well, technically, I guess 5 lefties, but Taylor Walls doesn't have that kind of power. But the lefties, whether it's Lowe, Lau, however you want to pronounce those last names, both of those guys hit lefty, and both of them have solid power. Luke Raley, Aranda. He's got to navigate that. But if he can navigate that, I think it's going to be fine. Can you get away with a home run today? Yeah, but I think this park helps it. I don't mind the way that my Castillo ownership shows up. Like when I look at it, I can look at this situation and think, okay, park works, matchup's good enough, a little scary, not the best strikeout spot in the world, but I'm still willing to get to Castillo if he's going to be sub 20% owned.
So I'm going to make an assumption here based on a couple of things. Number one, being based on your Luis Castillo exposure. Number two, based on the fact that you said that you were going to be rooting against the Braves tonight. If you are playing a lot of Luis Castillo, is it fair to assume that means you are not getting to very much of the chalky Brave stack because they are super expensive and it is kind of hard to combine them?
Sort of. So 20% aggregate ownership coming into the Braves. I'm not stacking them a lot. I only have 6 Brave stacks, but I do still have 12% in the aggregate. I have 27% Acuna. I have 15% of Darno, Olsen, Albies. So it's not like I'm just completely staying away, but the Braves are just showing up basically everywhere I don't have a stack in lineups that don't have. I guess I don't really have Adam Wainwright, so that's not a problem. I just assumed that I had Adam Wainwright in the scenario, but I don't.
Yeah, it is. It's tough to back Adam Wainwright in any scenario at this point in his career because he's terrible. The only reason Adam Wainwright, I know people are probably tired of hearing me say this because I brought it up a bunch over the course of the last 6 weeks or so. The only reason that Adam Wainwright is still in the Cardinals rotation is because he's at 198 career wins. The season is dead to the St. Louis Cardinals, which is also relevant here. He's been god-awful this year, but because he's at 198 wins and he's kind of like a legacy piece of the team, they trot him out there every 5 days to get his ass kicked in the hopes that he'll get 2 more wins before the season ends. And it is not looking like it's happening at this point in the season for Adam Wainwright. And what I think they should do, if they are really just pitching him there to get 2 more wins, which seems to be the case, turn him into a long reliever. Wait until you have a sizable lead built up and just throw him in like the 4th inning to pitch an inning or 2. Try to really stack it to the, and by the way, he has to be a really big lead because if it's only like a 4-run lead, he's probably going to get up those 4 runs in the inning or 2. So that's how I think they should go about trying to get him his last 2 wins to get to 200. It's, a pretty dumb thing to be striving for, but it's almost like embarrassing what happens to him every few days at this point. And that's the only reason he's still out there. He's a brutal matchup against the Atlanta Braves. Anyway, what I'm getting to is I'm not paying up for pitching today. I am getting to the Atlanta Braves quite a bit. So as such, I am well underway to the field on Luis Castillo. I know he's not massively popular today, but I am also well underway to the field on Max Fried, who I view as being wildly overowned at 43% on this slate. And, Max Fried has a matchup against St. Louis Cardinals, so I know that they've roughed up the Spencer Strider chalk last night. Strider was like 75% on in some tournaments, ends up scoring negative fantasy points. But the matchup against the St. Louis Cardinals, this is an offense that generally struggled against righties, but they have hitters in their lineup like Paul Goldschmidt, like Nolan Arenado. They're much better against lefties than righties. I understand why Fried is as popular as he is, but he just shouldn't be 43% owned. So I'm well underway to the field on the pay-up options at pitcher.
Totally agree about the ownership to Max Fried. Like 43% is just going to be too high. I think Castillo and Fried should be basically the same with mild adjustments for the fact that Fried is simply cheaper. Like that, like clearly he should get a little bit of a boost for that. I'm hoping that Adam Wainwright and the Cardinals made some sort of deal with the Braves to get him this win. Like, hey man, you're a former part of the Atlanta Braves organization. We're going to give you 199. Cardinals bats can go crazy. I hope so, because I have a lot of them. That's what I'm hoping happens here. The former first round pick of the Atlanta Braves can thrive here in this reunion spot in Atlanta, even though he never played for Atlanta.
Yeah, there's they'll be like, hey, for Josh Engleman's DFS lineups, can you do us a favor? Can you go out here and just not hit a million home runs off Adam Wainwright today? My preference would be that they do go out and hit a bunch of homers against Adam Wainwright, but we shall see. As far as
do you know who the Braves got for Adam Wainwright when they traded him away as a prospect to the Cardinals?
I do not know.
JD Drew.
Okay, he was good for a point in time.
Yeah.
He was good for a point in time.
They did.
Did they? Phillies threw batteries at him. There's been a couple of weird, like, that Adam Wainwright isn't quite as like some of the best players in baseball were in the Dodgers organization. They traded away for pieces. Like Yordan Alvarez was on the Dodgers. They traded him for like a relief pitcher at the trade deadline like 7 years ago when he was a prospect. Like some of these teams could have been totally loaded. Anyway, same deal. Like I'm not getting to Eduardo Rodriguez. I'm not getting to the payoff options today. I'm punting at pitching.
I've got 15% Freed. I've got 10% Erod. I don't have a ton of Pepio or Braxton Garrett.
I mean, I have 16% of Max Fried, so maybe I shouldn't say none, but relative to him being 43% owned, like that's, relatively speaking, like a pretty massive fade for a 6-game slate. As far as the cheap pitching goes, Josh, is there a punt option that you are getting to above all the other ones? Based on your facial reaction, I'm going to say the answer is yes, and it's something you don't like all that much.
Yeah, pretty much. Should we start with the elephant in the room of whatever the hell this guy's name is?
Davis Daniel, the man with two first names and no last name?
That's not even his first name. That's the real problem here. His first name is Robert.
His name is Robert Davis Daniel?
Yes.
That's
because he is Robert Daniel in Steamer projections because that's his real name. So like everybody just gets the real name in that
and
until maybe like you can change.
Second, he's like Robert Davis Daniel the third or something like that. Right.
The rank depositor says this Davis Daniel character looks solid. No, he does not. That is a terrible take. You must not have Googled the right person because that would be shockingly incorrect for what we're going to be getting here today. Now, if we're talking about from a DFS standpoint, he's the flat 4K. And as long as you can pitch long enough, flat 4K just opens you up to being available. He has thrown 25 innings this year in like made up ball and A ball, and it's been fine. He threw 102 innings last year in AAA with a garbage 7.3 Ks per 9 and a 583 xFIP as a 25-year-old in AAA. He is now 26 at a minimum, if not already 20. Now, he just turned 26. This dude stinks. He's got a 30 grade fastball that was graded in Fangraph's pitch grades. He was a former 7th round pick in 2019. This dude is a career minor leaguer that is up because it's September. The only appeal to him is that he's 4K. He's 22% owned, which is the third highest mark on today's slate. I'm not going to lie. I understand why it's happening. I don't think that he's wildly over-owned, but I don't have him because I don't think I need his salary because I'm too busy spending $5,900 on Ryan Nelson.
So Davis Daniel, I'm underweight. I have Davis Daniel. I have 19% of him right now. So I'm underweight to him, but like not like crazy different from the field. And it's because of the reason you just said. It's the price point. He's a 4K starting pitcher. You could go out there, you get lucky, you score 10 fantasy points at 4K. The Braves go off on the slate and cool. He lands in an optimal lineup for that reason. On the other side, though, backing up the stuff you said about Davis Daniel, so I'm a little bit underweight to the field on him. He's in my player pool, though. My most stacked team on the entire slate is the Cleveland Guardians. And I know they're picking up some ownership. It's not anything crazy in terms of ownership, though. But you're getting so much leverage off of a pitcher who appears to be dog shit. He is a quadruple A pitcher. These are the guys I like to refer to as, where it's like, he's had some success in the minor leagues. He didn't last year, but it's been on and off some of the success. He's not a prospect. He is, like you said, 26 years old. He had terrible results last year in AAA. This year, he's had good results in A-ball, but still, he's a 26-year-old pitcher in A-ball. So he's somebody who could find success at the lower levels of minor leagues, but is not quite a major league pitcher. He's somewhere in between. At 4K, you make a case for him in DFS, but really my preferred side of this is to stack against him.
The rank depositor said he's been excellent in those outings. Yeah, he should be excellent because he's 26 years old in the Florida Complex League. He's playing against dudes that will never, ever, ever be in the majors. If you're not good there, you're not going to be a part of any organization. He shouldn't be an A-ball for 4 starts at 26. There's context to these numbers, guys. But again, it's DFS. Like, it's a 6-game slate and he's 4K. I understand why people are playing him. But if I'm going to be lighter on the Braves, I'm very clearly then not, it's not as necessary for me to get to a 4K pitcher. So it's all a lineup construction situation. You mentioned being very heavy on the Cleveland Guardians, 22% aggregate ownership and 43 stacks to the Cleveland Guardians for me. So we can win that money together. I have 44% of Jose Ramirez.
Yeah, if I look at my lineups, I have 26% stacks of the Cleveland Guardians. Sorry, 26.7% stacks. I don't know if I said that clearly. So a lot of them. And then I have 33.3% of Jose Ramirez. So kind of like last night where you and I were on the same page with the Baltimore Orioles. They went out and scored 10 runs. Hopefully the same thing ends up happening with the Cleveland Guardians today, because I understand why people are getting to Davis Daniel, but my preferred side of that game is going to be the Cleveland Guardians. So with that in mind, you said you're getting to a lot of Ryan Nelson at $5,900. He's only projected for 3% ownership, which I assume is the main reason why.
Yep. He's just like, when you look at Cal Quantrill, Ryan Nelson, Zach Littell, there is not enough separation between what those guys are at that salary to make that be 17% ownership, 17% ownership, 3% ownership. That's just not how that works to me. Now, to be fair, I have them all. I have 15% of Littell. I have 18% of Nelson. I have 25% of Cal Quantrill. I'm getting to every bit of that area, but that 3% ownership just isn't correct to me. He is underrepresented. Even if he's not good, 3 should be 8 or something, or 9. I'll take advantage if it's 3.
Yeah, let me see what I have of him in here. By the way, I'm very spread out amongst these cheap pitchers. We'll talk about, I do think Rodon is the exception. He's my most rostered pitcher on the entire slate. So
I hate him.
A little bit about him. But before we get there, I want to see, what do I have of Nelson? I have Nelson right now. Yeah, I'm not having Nelson show up in lineups, but I understand why it is you're getting to him. It's just, of the cheap pitchers who are all kind of trash, Nelson's the one who's picking up the least ownership. So I understand how you could end up getting there. Yeah. As for Carlos Rodon, super.
Do we have to do this? I don't even want to talk. It pissed me off to talk about it this morning because I don't know what to do. I don't know how to talk about it.
Well, we could try. I'm starting with this. I'm overweight to him. He's my most rostered pitcher on the slate. I have him in 45% of lineups that I'm looking at right now.
Same.
And it's, first of all, his numbers are terrible this year. He has not pitched well at all. The only good start he's had this entire year is like the one time I bet an under on his K's prop. And it was like totally ridiculous because Randy Arozarena swung at a pitch that was like 5 feet in front of the strike zone. That was Rodon's final strikeout of the day to hit his K prop. And then he came out right after the game. It happened like a month ago. I'm still tilted about it. That aside, Carlos Rodon's been terrible this year. He's a 5.7 ERA, a 5.11 expected ERA, but it's a very small sample size. He's only made 9 starts. He's only pitched 42 innings. He's been hurt basically the entire season, which has been the story of his entire career, essentially, until last year where he was a Cy Young candidate. But here's at least the one silver lining here. It's not like he's been hurt and all of a sudden his fastball velocity is 92 miles per hour. It's still 95.6 miles per hour. So the stuff is still there. I just think he needs a little bit of continuity from the standpoint of he's been hurt so much this year. And his numbers, at least his walk rate, has gone down since coming back from the injured list. He's only walked a total of 3 hitters across his last 3 starts. But really what it is here is you got a cheap price point on a pitcher who has a track record of being elite, has good stuff, and has a good matchup against the Detroit Tigers. So Carlos Rodon, I think, is a good piece of chalk today, but there's not really anything in his numbers that suggests that like he should be killing it, other than the fact like he's been good in the past before this year.
There's just no way, and there's no way to confidently project him today because like he's so far this year, he has not even been close to the same player that he has ever been. But it's a completely different level. 6x FIP. There's no strikeouts to be had. He's giving up dongs constantly.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, so and I said this morning, every projection system that exists is going to project Carlos Rodon well today. Anything that's worth its salt is going to be using enough past data that he just doesn't project like he shouldn't be in baseball. The weight of all of that, I don't know what to do with it. I will say his outs prop today, and I think this is very important. And I want to say, I do have 45% of him. I'm with you. I don't know how else to do it. I don't think I should project him like this, but I do. His outs prop today at FanDuel, 15.5, undershaded -154. FanDuel Sportsbook is saying that this man is not going deep in this game and is probably more likely to go less than 5 innings than more than 5 innings. I gave him a pretty big discount in innings, and I'm still getting to him. And once I get to that point where it's just like, all right, I've discounted him as much as I possibly can, And I still think that there's no real way to dodge him. You kind of just have to hope that he ends up being, at some point in time in his life, the guy that he used to be. I don't know if that happens. I hope that it happens because I have so much of him, but I have no confidence. He can get bombed for the next 3 weeks. No part of that will surprise me. But I'm in dead lockstep with our tools. 25%. We had him at top 25% top 2 pitcher last I looked. I got him at 26. Like at 7,500, he's priced for his downside in a matchup against the Tigers.
Yeah, and by the way, for people in chat who are saying like, "Oh, not sold on Carlos Rodon," you shouldn't really be sold on Carlos Rodon. Here's what you should be sold on: the pitchers around him are also dog shit. So, like, what you're comparing Carlos Rodon to is here are the other pitchers in like this like cheap pitching range: Javier Assad, Zach Lytle, Ryan Nelson, Cal Quantrill. Like, these are your punt pitching options today. Is Carlos Rodon good? He has been in the past. He isn't this year, but he's still better than these other guys that we have to compare him to, which is why I think the ownership is more or less justified. Don't go out and play like 90% of Carlos Rodon, but I mean, I think it makes sense to be a little bit overweight to the field when he's projected for 35% ownership on a small slate where the pitching options are not very good. Yeah,
like Pepio at 85. I'm going to read down my projections because I think this kind of tells the story. Pepio, I have at 12.8. Braxton Garrett, I have at 12.2. Then we've got Rodon at 17.4. I've got Littell at 12.7, Nelson at 10.3, Cal Quantrill at 12.4. So I have Rodon like 5 points ahead of everybody that's anywhere near him, up and down. Even if I gave him and I believe that I'm projecting his innings correctly. It's not like I just have him going deep to get that. Even if I give him a sizable discount in K rate, he's still going to project as the best point per dollar play up and down that list. I could take 3 or 4 fantasy points clean off of him, and he still will have the highest projection for me. So he's going to stand out. I'm going to assume that at some point in time, he could be a little bit better, but it's weird. You see these matchups against the Tigers sometimes where like their aggregate strikeout rate is like 26, 27. It's actually based on the lineup that we have today, not that great of a strikeout matchup. So I assume today is the day that he goes out there and like mows down 10 dudes. Does he have a strikeout? What's his like alternate lines? Okay. Do you want to take a guess at his 8+ strikeout line? 8 or more.
Well, I can tell you the most he's had all season. Not that this is exactly your question. The most he's had all season, I know, is 7, because that was Correct. The game where I bet against him against Tampa Bay Rays. Once again, saying I'm still triggered by his over/under for strikeouts in the game against Tampa Bay Rays was 6.5. There was no reason his strikeout prop should have been 6.5 that day.
Yeah.
Ends up hitting 7. Anyway, for today, 8+ strikeouts, plus 250,
plus 320.
Okay.
I think that's a solid number. You know, we're talking like somewhere in the 20%-ish range that he could get hit 8+, plus 162 for 7+. You get any one of like, you get 7 or more, you're feeling pretty good about Carlos Rodon's start today. He's minus 290 for 5+. I think that's the goal. You get to 5, you're feeling good. Minus 290, that's a relatively likely scenario. So I think you can make it work just because the simplest thing to look at, he's 7,500.
Let's do a comparison point. The pitcher who is priced closest to him today, who, by the way, is also getting ownership, is Javier Assad. Javier Assad is $200 cheaper than Carlos Rodon and is projected for 15% ownership. What is Javier Assad's prop for 8+ strikeouts, which I assume is some asinine number like 8-1 or something?
I have them projected for 3.5 today. So it's probably going to, if they have it, it's probably aggressive. I'm pulling it up right now on the off chance that you already have it. Or do you want me to guess? I have it here now, but I have not looked.
Okay. I haven't looked at it yet.
Okay, so I'll hit you. Give me the guess then. Pick the number, pick the line.
8+. So the same one. So Rodon with plus 320 for 8+. And once again, I'm going to go back to people in chat saying they're not sold on Carlos Rodon. Why do you play him? It has nothing to do with Carlos Rodon. It has everything to do with what the other options are on the slate. Yep. Javier Assad is the pitcher who's closest to him. We just said that Carlos Rodon is plus 320 for 8+ strikeouts. I'm going to say Assad is 9-1.
You would be quite light. That would be 12-1.
Oh my, yeah. So that's why you're playing Carlos Rodon today, because that is what his upside is compared to the players priced closest to him.
I think looking at it the opposite way is even more interesting. He's plus 130 for 5 or more. Yeah. And that was minus whatever the hell for Rodon. So even the projection systems aside, and prop market strikeout props aside, people can move these lines if they wanted to with very minimal bets, and it would look a little bit different in a half hour if you wanted it to. But assuming these are like in the ballpark, that is a chasm between those two people. The market is certainly not pricing in Carlos Rodon just being straight ass for the rest of his career.
Yeah. And you wouldn't expect him to be. And then also, like, what is the most amount of starts he's gone in a row without getting hurt this year? Is it 3? Like, is this his new record for the season that he's gone like 4 or 5 starts without getting hurt? I think it is actually.
Probably.
Yeah, he made it through all of August without getting hurt. That's the only time that's happened the entire year, that he's made it an entire month without getting hurt. So maybe the continuity helps him out to some extent as well, that he could be, just out there making starts regularly a few times. Just kind of grasping at straws, throwing weird narratives out there that we can't really take action on anyway, but still just kind of bringing some stuff up here. Is there anything else you want to talk about as far as pitching options go?
Probably not. By the way, I know we're going to get to hitting in a little bit. I just got the screenshot from Adam of his exposures. He's going to be joining me on the Cardinals bandwagon. So if you want to win money tonight, that's not the direction to go. Now, I think we've sort of touched on everybody. I don't like that I have a bunch of Cal Quantrill. I kind of like the Angels side of that game a little bit more because I think Quantrill is real bad, but I'm still getting the Quantrill because not only is Quantrill bad, but so are the Angels with no Shohei Ohtani. Although, try to ignore our website for right now with regards to Shohei Ohtani.
So there was a report that the Angels are hoping he's going to play tonight. They are.
Really?
Yes. Yeah. So the Angels are hoping that he'll be in the lineup for today. He hasn't definitively been ruled out. So one thing that
I saw that he wanted to take swings yesterday and couldn't. So I just assumed that we're not even remotely close.
Yeah, we shall see. One thing that really benefited me yesterday, Josh, is I did build some lineups and left Ohtani in part of them just because I thought he was likely to be out, but in the event that he played, I wanted exposure to him at like 1% ownership. So what ends up happening? He doesn't play. I global swap Ohtani to Yordan Alvarez. Alvarez homers. And for the exact reasons I played Ohtani, clearly, so that Yordan Alvarez would homer. Ended up working out yesterday and did help me out a little bit there. But I do think there's a chance Ohtani plays. It's not the most likely scenario, but I think it's within the realm of possibility.
I think we're more likely to see him tomorrow.
Could be. Here's the report here. It is there was some optimism that Ohtani would return at DH for Wednesday's finale against the Orioles, but he wasn't ready, and they're hoping he'll be in the lineup today. So we'll see. I don't think it's likely, but I think there's maybe like a 10-15% chance we see Ohtani in the lineup.
Like, if he feels anything, he's just clearly not going out there.
You would think that, except for the reason that he's hurt now is because he has been fatigued and they just made him pitch through until he blew out his UCL.
Ooh. Trey Murphy, knee surgery, out up to 12 weeks.
Well, at least they have a healthy Zion Williamson right now.
Maybe. Maybe.
For the time being. By the way,
define you mean uninjured Zion Williamson? Because I don't know if his fat ass is healthy right now.
Oh, have you seen pictures of him? He is jacked right now.
No, I haven't seen him. Dude, I just assumed he ate everything he could find.
He looks like Superman now. He got into crazy good shape in the offseason.
He's white?
Superman? No, Superman's black.
Oh.
I assume so. Anyway, I don't know. It's been a minute since I read comic books. I assume so at this point. But anyway, we only have about 10 minutes left. So instead of building lineups in the lineup generator, we'll just go out and talk about some of our stacks here. If you guys have questions for us in Discord, we'll answer those. I'm about to pull up Discord here in a second. And then also, one of the best deals we have going on right now, we are sponsored by Owner's Box. And if you guys haven't checked out Owner's Box yet, here's a couple reasons to do so. First and foremost, if you sign up at Owner's Box using the link we have below, you get 1 free month of our data package for football. The max package, 1 month totally for free. You get that if you make a minimum $10 deposit at Owner's Box. But the reason you should make a bigger deposit at Owner's Box is because they're going to have up to $500 match deposit bonus. So if you enter, or I should say, if you deposit $500, they're going to give you another $500 on top of it, which is a great offer to take advantage of. Something else also with Owner's Box. Their contest this weekend for NFL has about 16,000 entries in it. We are at Thursday night. They have less than 1,000 people entered in that tournament right now. It is going to overlay, almost certainly. It is going to be the best value of any DFS contest you could play in this weekend. So if you sign up using the link below, 1 free month of our football package. And by the way, that offer is only available through Sunday. Starting next week, we sign up at Owner's Box. You only get 1 week of our data package. You get that up to $500 for free from Owner's Box, and you get access to Overlay. So go check out Owner's Box and sign up using that link that we have below. Stacks, Josh. What is it that you are prioritizing the most above all other teams? What is your number one most rostered offense?
I'm going to roster Zion, man. I just look at how good he looks, dude.
Yeah,
shredded. Yeah. Looking good. Looking good. My most exposed team right now is the Cleveland Guardians.
Same.
They are in 22% of all of my, that's 22% of all of my exposure. I have 36 5-man stacks and 7 4-man stacks. Yikes.
I have 26.7% of the Cleveland Guardians. That is my most rostered stack on the entire slate. 6-game slate, so I'm somewhat spread out today. I have 2 teams that I have significant exposure to. That is the Cleveland Guardians and the Atlanta Braves. The Braves are really popular. I'm not all that much different than the field on them. We could talk about Josh's stand on being a little bit underweight to the field on them. They project really well for us today. And if you look at the top stacks tool, for instance, even though we have them with a 21.1% projected aggregate ownership as a team, we have them with a 25.4% chance to be the top scoring team on the slate. So by our numbers, we do have them a little bit under owned. I'm about even with the field on the Atlanta Braves. They make a whole lot of sense today. I didn't play Atlanta yesterday. I do think they make sense tonight, though.
I have them 26.6% to be the top stack. Like I'm in lockstep with everything we have. I just happen to be a little bit lighter. I have 12%. It's not like I have none. It's still a pretty sizable amount. The team that I'm most exposed to second is the St. Louis Cardinals, which I don't really know what to do with, and I hate the way that it looks. And it happened yesterday, so like I really just mentally don't like it at all. This is the type of shit that like Sean V would be saying in chat, like, "Oh, the Cardinals were good yesterday. They cannot be good today." And here I am, just locked and loaded, 4xing the Cardinals. I might walk that back just a little bit because it seems I have more than I need. But it's happening. The park's great. It's a terrible matchup. As weird as it sounds, I probably like this worse than I like the one against Strider, because at least Strider gives up some power. Fried never gets hit hard.
Yeah, so I have 10.7% stacks of the Cardinals as well. So I'm more than double the field on this team. This is the entire reason why. Max Fried is too popular. It's all what it comes down to. It just leverage. What is his ownership? What is the ownership of the Cardinals offense? I get it. Fried's been very good this year. He's been very good in the past as well. He's a 2.52 ERA. He's a 2.56 expected ERA. To the point you brought up before, heavy ground ball pitcher, 59.1% ground ball rate. But there is a point where Max Fried is too popular and the team he's going up against is not popular enough. And that's where we're at with the St. Louis Cardinals. Fried is 1,000,000% owned. Nobody's playing the Cardinals. It would have been great if we played the Cardinals against Strider last night in hindsight. And it's not exactly the same scenario, obviously, because Fried isn't quite as popular as Strider was yesterday. The Cardinals aren't quite as low owned, but still, I think there is opportunity for this team to be a leverage stack that blows up the slate in a somewhat similar way, because they do have the middle of the order, has right-hand hitters with power. And, you got a pitcher here in Max Fried that's going to be nearly 50% owned.
I hate it so much, but like everything you're saying is true and correct. And like, you're getting all of this leverage. It's unappealing on paper. The times that I make this stand always go the same way that, why can't I remember that? Like Cole Reagans did a couple days ago. I didn't really have him. I took the opposite side, and he went out there and spun a gem, and the White Sox, it was on Labor Day, and the White Sox were straight ass. If I would have played the Cardinals yesterday, Strider would have spun a gem. I'm playing the Cardinals today. Max Fried at 43% ownership might track a no-hitter. So be aware of what's going to happen today.
Yeah. I mean, the Cole Reagans thing is really stupid, because can DraftKings just price him appropriately? Like, he's very clearly one of the best pitchers in the American League right now. He's throwing like 100 miles per hour when he's at 110 pitches. He's striking everybody out. And DraftKings is like, oh, cool, $6,800 then for Cole Reagans. Just ruins every slate that he's on. But anyway, I have 4 offenses that I have double-digit exposure to today, Josh. The Guardians, the Braves, the Cardinals, and the Yankees. Those 4.
I have 6, actually.
Oh, okay. So you're even more spread out than me. And then I have teams also, like I'm getting to some of the Tigers for leverage. I have them just below 10%. But those are the
who are your other 2 teams between the Braves and the Cardinals?
Braves, Cardinals, Yankees, Guardians.
Okay. Yankees, oh, wait. Braves, Cardinals, Yankees, Guardians. Okay. All 4 of those are all 10% or more for me.
Okay.
The others that I have are the Diamondbacks at 12% and the Angels at 10%.
I am not really getting to either of those teams, the Diamondbacks or the Cardinals. Let's see. What's the ownership there? We've got Arizona as a team projected for 6.6% ownership against Javier Assad. And then the Angels are projected for 7.4% ownership against Cal Quantrill. So I'm underweight to both of those. Is there a team that you are underweight to then in any kind of significant way?
You have your lineups in?
Yes.
Okay. A reminder to everybody, lock is in 3.5 minutes.
Yeah. So
yeah. I was just about to run a new situation. You mentioned the Diamondbacks ownership. You mentioned the Diamondbacks ownership, and I was like, ooh, that's not what's on my sheet. I should rerun this. And I looked over and I was like, oh, I got, 20, whatever the fuck minutes. And then I looked at the start time on the upload sheet. And it was 6:40. I was like, well, that's what I'm playing. I don't have that kind of time.
Yeah. Diamondbacks are in our projection 6.6% on the aggregate as a team.
It was 8 the last time that I had loaded it. So that moved the way that I would want it to go anyway. So yeah. Perfect. I would just end up with more Diamondbacks if I did this.
All right, fair enough. Yeah.
What was your question now? I wanted to make sure that I got that out there because it gave me half a panic attack when I saw that it was 2 minutes from lock.
All good. Actually, we have a couple questions in Discord, so let's make sure we answer these beforehand. But
sure.
Captain Akello wants to know, you're on fire with dong picks and single entry teams. How are you doing single entry tournaments on DK today? So yesterday, the Orioles definitely worked as a single entry team.
Sure.
For today, I'd be most apt to go to the Cleveland Guardians. Here's what I think is going to happen in single entry tournaments today. Everybody's going to play the Braves against Adam Wainwright. The Braves are going to be like 40% owned as a team in single entry, which means a lot of the field is going to be playing Davis Daniel in single entry, which makes the Guardians a team I want to play even more in those tournaments.
Yep. No disagreement there. You're going to get a lot of Brave stacks. Oh, we got the Cleveland lineup too. Just came in. Daniel, Rodon, Fried in some sort of trio. Is that Guardians lineup something I got to fuck around with? Quan, Ramirez. Like I was waiting for Jose Ramirez to be out or something. Quan, Ramirez, Naylor, Laureano, Calhoun. All right. So David Fry is in the lineup. Jimenez is good. Arias is good. Will Brennan isn't. So it's
the 2 players that are in the lineup that I didn't have projected in, or at least
Fry and Straw.
Yeah, Fry and Straw.
And I had Brennan and Naylor. So Naylor's 3K, Fry's 2,600. You get hot swap straight to Fry if you want to and not have any issues. Brennan was a $2,400 outfielder. Miles Straw is 2,200. You can swap directly to those 2 guys. Same situation, basically. Only David Fry's hitting a little bit higher in the order than I had Bo Naylor. So those are not swaps that are all that problematic.
Yeah, and Obi-Wan saying Brennan is incorrect. Brennan is not in the lineup today. So Captain Akello, I'd say go ahead and roster the Guardians as stack in single entry. And then Einstein wants to know, am I getting to the Tigers or Seattle? I'm a little short of 10% on the Tigers, and it's just solely because whenever there's a pitcher like Carlos Rodon that is some downside, that is going to be super popular, going to land in some of my lineups. So it's not anything crazy. I'm a little short of 10% on the Tigers. And the other team he asked me about was the Seattle Mariners. And the Mariners I'm not really getting to today. Only 2% Mariners.
I have 1% Rays, 4% Mariners, 1% Marlins, 2% Dodgers. Those first, that like the 640 start, I would really prefer to not see offense.
Yeah. Hey. And really quick that we got to lock here, by the way, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you've not done yet, do us a favor. Like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Football starting today. Don't forget to go check out our NFL Live Before Lock show. Lofty, Neil Orfield breaking it down. They're going to be on in about 30 minutes here. We'll be breaking down the football show. First slate of the year, so go check that out. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Good luck with all your lineups tonight. Enjoy the start of football. See you here tomorrow.